We continue now at the top of Daf Yud Chesam and Beis Meseches Avodah Zara. This is Avodah Zarah Daf 18b. On the previous summit, the Gemara was going into the story of Rabbi Chanina ben Tradion when he was charged by the Romans. He was killed, his wife was killed, and his daughter was put into a house of prostitutes. And the Gemara said in the previous summit that the daughter of Rabbi Chanina ben Tradion, there was another daughter of Rabbi Chanina ben Tradion. Her name was Bruria, and she was married to Rabbi Meir. And so she said to Rabbi Meir that she didn't want that her sister should be in this house of prostitutes. So Rabbi Meir went to this Beis Zonos. He went to the house of prostitutes, and he offered some money to one of the guards, and he said that I want to take this girl with me. And the guard said, well, how are you going to protect me from any prosecution by the Romans? And so he gave him some money. He said, you can give them keep some money for yourself and then give as a bribe. And he said, well, when the money runs out, so again, how am I going to protect myself? So he said, you could just say, Elokah de Meir Aneni, the God of Meir should answer me, and then you'll be protected. And so the Gemara continues the story, who says that that's really true? Meaning the guard said to Rabbi Meir, how do I know that I'll really be protected by saying Elokah de Meir Aneni? Amar lei, so Rabbi Meir said to him, Hashtachazis, now you'll see, I'm going to show you that it is a protection. Havahanu kalbi davaka'achli inshi, there were some dogs over there that they would eat people, they were very dangerous dogs. Shakal kala shadabu, so he took a clod of earth and he threw it at the dogs. Havakasul amechli, so they came to eat him. Amar, and then Rabbi Meir said, Allah de Meir aneni, said the God of Meir answer me, and Shavkua, so then they allowed him to go, and that showed that this was a protection. And so the Gemara says, V'yohavale, so then the guard gave her over to Rabbi Meir when he saw again that this phrase, Allah de Meir aneni, would be a good protection. L'sof ishtama milsa bei malka, so in the end, the government, they heard about what happened, Asiyua, Askul, Izkifa, and so they brought this guard and they wanted to raise him up in order to hang him. Amar, and he said the phrase, Allah de Meir aneni, said the God of Meir should answer me. So Achsua, so they weren't able to hang him, and so they had to bring him down. Amrulay, they said to him, my hi, what is this? How is it that you were able to protect yourself? Amar Lui said to them, Hachi have a maisa, this is what happened. So Asu chakaku ledemusa de Rabbi Meir apischa de Romi, so they went and they carved the image of Rabbi Meir on the entrance to Rome. Amri, they said, called the chazi lepartsufa hadein, anyone who sees this face, laise, should bring this person forward, we want to try this person, we want to sentence this person. Yom achad chaziyui, one day some people from Rome, they saw him, Roat abasre, so they ran after him, Roat mikamayu, and so he ran from them, and all the Beizonos, he went to a place of Beizonos, he went again to a house of prostitutes. And Rashi explains, Zasala Beizonos, Kadesha Yomer, that way they would say, Lo hu di'u, lo avayel, it can't be that that's Rabbi Meir, he would never go into a Beizonos, so that's how he tried to protect himself. Iga De'amri, there are those that say, Bishule Ovdei Kochavim Chaza, that he saw Bishule Ovdei Kochavim, he saw items that were being cooked by idol worshippers, and so Tamash Baha, Masak Baha, what he did was, he took one of his fingers and put it in, but then he put his other finger in his mouth, he made it look like he was eating Bishul Akum, and so therefore they assumed again that it couldn't possibly be Rabbi Meir. And Ikad Yamri, there are those that say Asa Elio, that Elio Hanavi came, Idmi Lukazon, and he appeared to them to be like he was a zona, like a prostitute, and Karchase, and so then gave a hug to Rabbi Meir. Elio Hanavi gave a hug to Rabbi Meir, and it looked like a zona was hugging Rabbi Meir. And so again, Amri, they said Chas v'Shalom, Rabbi Meir have lo have ovid hachi. It can't be, God forbid, if that was Rabbi Meir, he would never do such a thing. And then Kam Arak Asal Bavel, then he got up and he ran away to Bavel. And the Gemara says, Ikad Yamri, there are those that say Mehai Maisa, he ran away to Bavel because of this thing that happened that we just said. V'ikad Yamri, but there are those that say Mimaisa de Bruria, he actually ran away to Bavel for a different reason, for an episode or for an incident that happened with Bruria, which is mentioned in a different Gemara. Rashi explains, V'ikad Yamri Mishamaisa de Bruria, Shapam Achas Liglugla al Sha'amru Chachamim. The story with Bruria in the other Gemara was that one time she was making fun of what the Chachamim said, Nashim Daitan Kalos Hein Alayu, that the phrase of the Chachamim, that women, they have a light kind of das, V'yamar lo, and so then Rabbi Meir said to her, he said to Bruria, Chayecha Sofcha Lahodos Ledivreim, by your life, in the end you'll admit that what they're saying is true. V'tziva La'achad Mitalmidav L'nasosa L'dvar Aveira, then he instructed one of his students to test her, to try to entice her, to do an Aveira with her, an illicit relationship. V'hifzer Ba Yamim Ram, he did this for many days, Ashen Itzratzitz, and finally she agreed. And then when she found out everything that happened, Chanka Atzma, so she strangled herself. V'arek Rabbi Meir Machmas Kisuf, and then Rabbi Meir ran away because he was embarrassed of what what happened. And the Gemara continues with the two dots. Tanu Rabban and the rabbis taught, if somebody goes to the stadiums, again, that's where they had the gladiators, or they had those who were fighting against the animals and people would get killed. Ulecharkom, that refers to the area of the besiegers. They also would do all kinds of leitzanas, all kinds of games and leitzanas at the Charkom. And he goes there and he sees those who are sorcerers, they do witchcraft, or he sees the chaver, and also those are people who whisper incantations, and bukyon, umukyon, umulyon, velulyon, belurin, salgurin, these are all different kinds of clowns, leitzanim. Hareza moshav leitzim, these places are places where the scorners, where they settle. These is called the moshav leitzim. Ve'aleim hakasav omer, about them the pasuk says, Ashrei yoish asher lo halach kim b'toras Hashem chefzo. Fortunate is the man who doesn't go, rather he only goes in Toras Hashem. Rashi explains, it's the din in makom shemenachin es ashur. Again, that's a place where they'll have the axe, will be goring the people. Ulecharko motzer, that's an area of the besiegers. V'osen sham sechok v'leitzanos, like we said, they play games over there, and also it's leitzanos. As hanechashim and achshim and mechashvim means sorcerers, means those who do witchcraft. V'esachaverim lochshe nechashim, they whisper these incantations. Bukyon, mukyon, lulyon, salgarion, kulan mine leitzanim heim. These are all different kinds of clowns. Halamanato, and the point over here is, you learn from the pasuk that the Gemara quoted in Tehillim, midasamech leikim b'toras, it says that the person follows Torah, mechlal da'azalachi la b'toras Hashem chefso. The pasuk is implying someone who does these other things, he's not following the Torah. And the Gemara continues, Halamarato, this teaches, Shedvarim halalam mevina sa'adam lidei bittul Torah, that doing these things, it brings a person to bittul Torah, it brings a person to wasting his time and not learning Torah. But the Gemara continues, or a mini, we have the following contradiction. It says, Holchin litztadin in mutter, it's mutter to go to the stadiums, mneshet tzavachu matzil, because he can scream out and save a Jew. Let's say a Jew is being gored by the axe. Ulecharkom mutter mnei yishav Medina, also it's mutter to go to the besiegers, because that can settle the Medina, settle the province, meaning to say, as Rashi explains, Medina Yisrael Hadorim Bosayir. Let's say there are Jews that are living in this city. He can ask the people, the besiegers, to save those people. The Brisa says, as long as he's not counted among them, Rashi says that he's strengthening, as long as he's not strengthening the idol worshippers, to do the siege together with them, as long as he's not Yischashav Imoim, but if he's counted among them, if he's counted among the besiegers, then it is asr, then it is forbidden. And the Gemara says, Kasha, it's deninin, it's a question, the stadiums against the stadiums. Again, in the first bryce it says that it's forbidden to go to the stadiums, in the second bryce it says it's mutter. And Kasha, karkom acharkom, it's also a difficulty in terms of the besiegers. In the first bryce it says that you cannot be together with the besiegers, and in the second one it says it is okay. And the Gemara says, Bishlam acharkom lo kasha, I understand the besiegers against the besiegers, that's not a difficulty. As the bryce, as the second bryce itself said, Kan b'mischashav imoin, kan b'shein mischashav imoin. And here we're talking where he's counted among them, that's problematic. If he's not counted among them, then it's not a problem. Elo, it's the din in kasha, but the stadiums against the stadiums, that actually is difficult. Is it mutter or is it not mutter? And the Gemara says, Tanoi, well, it's actually just a machlokas Tanoim whether it's mutter. Titania, as we learned in a bryce, saying, Hochin litztadinin mimnei moshav leitzim, you're not allowed to go to the stadiums, because then you're sitting amongst the leitzim, amongst the scoffers. For Rabbi Nassan ma'atir mimnei shnei devarim, but Rabbi Nassan says it's mutter for two reasons. Echad mimnei shetzavachu matzil, one, he can scream out and he can save a Jew who might be in danger. V'echad, and another reason, mimnei shemeyed edus isha la'asiyah, he's able to testify. Let's say somebody's husband was killed, he can testify on behalf of the wife that now she will be able to remarry. And the Gemara continues, Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Ein holchin letartios ulekarkisios mimneshem ezablin sham zibo la'avodas kochavim. You're not allowed to go to the theaters and the circuses because they sacrifice there to the Avoda Zara, Divrei Rabbi Meir. These are the words of Rabbi Meir. V'chachamim omer, and the chachamim say, Makom shem ezablin asur. If it's a place where they're sacrificing to the idols, it's asur. Mimnei chshar avodas kochavim. Then you have a concern of Avoda Zara. U'makom shein mezablin sham asur. But in a place where they're not sacrificing to Avoda Zara, say the Chacham, it's also asur. Mimnei moshav leitzim, because then you're sitting amongst the scoffers. The Gemara says, "My beinayu." Well, what's the difference between them? Because they're both agreeing meaning that it's forbidden. Amr Rabbi Chanina Misura says, Nasa v'nasa nika beinav. The difference is, let's say the person does business over there, and Rashi explains, Nasa v'nasa Rabbi Meir, Nasa v'nasa aser. According to Rabbi Meir, if he does business, it's aser anything that he got from there. Because Rabbi Meir assumes that it's all Avoda Zara. He holds that they're certainly sacrificing to Avoda Zara. If he's doing business over there, he has money of Avoda Zara in his hands. They're buying from this Yisrael for the purpose of Avoda Zara. According to the Rabbanan, they're saying that the concern, let's say it's a situation where it's not Avodah Zara, it's only a concern of Leitzanas, so Nasa v'Nasan mutter. If he does business over there, it's mutter. There we're not concerned that it is money of Avodah Zara. And the Gemara continues, Darash Rabbi Shimon ben Pazi, Darshans, Ma'idach what does it mean when it's written in the Pasuk, in Tehillim, Ashrei Ish Asher Lo Halach Ba'atzas Rishom V'derech HaToim Lo Amad, Uv'moshav Leitzim Lo Yashav. It says that he's not going to walk in the ways of the Rishayim, he's not going to stand by those who sin, and he's not going to sit amongst the Leitzim, amongst the scorners. And so he asks as follows, now if he hasn't went there, how does he stand there? If he didn't stand there, where is he sitting? And if he didn't sit, so how did he scoff? Rather, the pasuk is saying to as follows: that if he goes there, sofo lamod, in the end he's going to stand with them. And if he stands with the scorners, sofo leishiv, then he's going to sit there. And if he sits there, sofo lolutz, in the end he's going to scoff. And if he becomes a scoffer, all of akasav omer, about him the pasuk says, so if you're wise for yourself. But if you're going to scoff, so then you're going to carry that sin yourself. And we'll note that the Mesoras Hashah says that the proper word in the pasuk is vilatzta. Again, those who are going to scoff, they're going to carry that sin. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rebbe Elazar says, Kol hamislotzet yisurin b'in olav, anybody who scoffs, he's going to have afflictions come upon him. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk, v'ata al tislotetzu pen yechzeku mosreichem. Again, it means to say that you're going to have yisurim, you're going to have afflictions if you scoff. Amar lu Rava l'Rabbanan, and Rava said to the Rabbanan, b'matusa b'ina minayich, I request of you, please, the lo tislotetzu, you shouldn't scoff, the lo leiso alaycha yisurin, that you shouldn't have yisurin, you should not have afflictions. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Katina says, Kala mislotze, it's mizonos of mismat, and anybody who scoffs, his mizonos, his sustenance will decrease. Shenamar, as it says in the pasuk, Moshach yado es lotzitzim, he stretches out his hand from those who scoff, he doesn't provide for them, meaning to say again, their mizonos are going to decrease. And this pasuk, Moshach yado es lotzitzim, is a pasuk in Sefer Hosea. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish. Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish says, Kol hamislotzet nofel begehenim, anybody who scoffs will fall in Gehenim. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk, there's a pasuk in Mishlei, Zayd yoyer leit shemo osa be'evras zadon. It uses the term evras zadon by somebody who's a leitz. Ve'ein evra ela Gehenim, and the word evra refers to Gehenim. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk, Yom evra hayom hahu. That day is a day of wrath, and that is a pasuk in Sefania. And the Gemara continues, Amar Raboshi says, Kol ha-misyaher nofel begehenim, anyone who's arrogant will fall into Gehenim. Shenemar, as it says, Zayd yoyer leit shemo osa be'evras zadon. Again, darshaning that same pasuk, Ve'ein evra ela Gehenim. The word evra here refers to Gehenim. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk, Yom evra hayom hahu. Again, the same pasuk, Yom evra hayom hahu. And here they're darshaning the part of the pasuk not that refers to the leits, but the part of the pasuk that says yoher, the idea that the person is arrogant, so he's going to fall to Gehenim. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rabbi Chaniloi bar Chaniloi, Rabbi Chaniloi, the son of Chaniloi, says, and some have the gears of Rav Tanchum bar Chaniloi, says, Kol ha-mislotzet gorim kloya lo'olam, anybody who scoffs will bring destruction to the world. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk, this is the pasuk that was quoted above, it's from Yeshayahu, V'ata al tislotzetzu pen yechzeku mosreichem, you shouldn't scoff, maybe your yisurim will increase, Ki cholav v'nechret so shamati, because I heard of total extermination. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rabbi Elazar says, Kasha hi shetchilasu yisurim v'sofa kalaya, scoffing is difficult, because at first there's yisurim, there's afflictions, and then at the end there's kalaya, there's extermination. And the Gemara continues, Darash Rabbi Shimon ben Pazi, Darshans, Ashrei Yish Asher Lo Halach, the pasuk in Tehillim says, fortunate is the man who doesn't go. That refers Latartiyos, Lakarkasiyos, Shalov de Kochavim, he doesn't go to the theaters and the circuses of the idol worshippers. Uviderech HaToim Lo Amad, he does not stand among the sinners. Zeh Shelo Amad B'Kenigyon, that's the person who doesn't stand in the Kenigyon. Rashi says Kenigyon Seidas Chayal Yidei Klovim V'chol Ma'aseim L'Shem Schok V'Simcha. They would capture wild animals through dogs, and they did this all. This was was all a way of schok, it was all a way of laughter and joy for them. You shouldn't go among those people either. Uva Moshe leitzim lo yashav, he doesn't sit among the leitzim, shelo yashav betachbulos, he doesn't sit among those groups who are scoffers. Shema yomar adam, maybe a person will say, ho v'lo halachti letartios, lekarkasios, v'lo amarti b'kinigyon, if I'm not going to the theaters and the circuses and the kinigyon, eilech v'eskar b'sheinas, I might as well just sleep and do nothing. Talmud Lomer, the pasuk says, if it's so raso yega yomam v'layla, the person should learn Torah day and night. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Shmuel bar Nachmani, Amar Rav Yonasan, Rav Shmuel bar Nachmani says that Rav Yonasan says, Ashrei yish asher lo halach ba'atzas Rishayim, when the pasuk says, fortunate is the one who doesn't go in the ways of the wicked, Zeh, this refers to, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video, on Daf Yotes Amud Aleph.